was at the dinner the other day, and me and my wife were having a debate on whether or not the wedge salad was an actual salad. Of course it's a salad, I said. She said it was a lazy salad. It's like the chef just stopped. It's more of a vehicle for blue cheese dressing and bacon and tomatoes. And, iceberg doesn't really have any calories in it. Hey everybody, it's Dan. I'm here with my friend Chef Matt Meyer from Low Bar, and this is Bay Area Mukbang. And we're here to eat a bunch of food and talk about some shit. Today we have food from Tan Key in East Oakland on East 12th Street. And it is rad. I really enjoyed going in there. Oh, yeah. It was cool. But maybe you can tell us a little bit something about it.
Yeah, it's just been one of my favorite restaurants for years. I used to go on Tuesdays on my days off and eat so much food at lunchtime. I got my favorites, and you picked out some stuff I haven't had before, so I'm actually really stoked to try it.
Yeah, that's kind of the best thing about going into these places is just looking at a menu and like getting you got me started on that. But when I was in there, I was looking at all the noodle soups that people had, and it was after I ordered, and I was all like, maybe I should have gotten a few more noodle soups. But I have picked at a couple things, and it's all really, really good. But I'm just looking at my notes. And so Chef Matt, maybe you can tell us where you work, what you do.
Yeah, I am the chef and owner of Low Bar in downtown Oakland. It's a cocktail bar and restaurant, and we've been open for a year and a half. We opened in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
Which sucked.
Yeah.
But we're making it happen. It's
tight. You really are.
It's fun.
It's really, really cool what you guys are doing down there. And that brings me to my next question. Like what's the philosophy of like Low Bar, like what you do, like what you're trying to bring to people?
Yeah, man, it was always just like my business partner Daniel and I mean, it's a really like kind of like common dream for people that have been in this industry for as long as we have. We're like, let's open a bar that we would want to hang out in. It's like as simple as that, and just kind of like cooking and making thanks dude. Yeah. Making cocktails and food that like we know and love. And I mean, it's like a super casual spot, but like we don't sacrifice quality for that. You know what I mean? Like it's like, but we still like encourage like a really kind of boisterous good time. Like shots and beers, but also like really sweet cocktails.
That's what I really appreciate about your spot is the broad spectrum of like patrons that you serve to. You know what I mean? Like your beer and shot specials are really, really good.
Yeah.
And your like higher end like bites and cocktails are amazing too. Yeah. So I appreciate when I walk into a place and there's just an eclectic crowd.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can get, you get drunk with your friends, or you could like go on a date and like have like a nice like octopus dish or something and oysters, but also like a cheeseburger and like mezcal.
Yeah. I've had times in your bar where I've like browned out with friends, and then I brought my aunt there for brunch. Yeah. It's an amazing spot.
Yeah.
But we should probably start eating because this stuff is.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's looking good.
I'm hungry.
What are you gonna try first?
I'm gonna do this one because it's crispy.
It's the shrimp rolls.
That's sick.
Those look good. What's that sauce?
It's sweet.
Very sweet, but very good. So, what philosophies do you bring to cooking and like the culinary industry?
Man, that's I'm gonna start with this.
Yeah, go for it.
It's like my favorite thing on there. Honestly, like there are so many different like approaches to cooking and being a chef, and I feel like especially in the last 10 years with like food shows and cooking shows, so much of it is like romanticized to this in this way where it's like, and I'm sure some of it's true for some people, but like honestly, like I really love eating, which is why I started cooking.
Yeah.
I know people that are like, oh, I like only eat undressed salads, but then they're like phenomenal chefs and they
Yeah.
cook amazing food, but they're like not they're like almost less interested in in like the eating aspect of the dining experience. They just want to like cook and create. I'm kind of both. Like I cook to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so it's like a really kind of like simple simple approach to cooking. It's like, what would I want to fucking chow down on?
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
Especially when I'm like drinking with my friends
Yeah.
and hanging out and stuff.
That's mostly how I cook at home too, or like when I'm having people over. I'm like, okay, what do I want to eat? Yeah. Like I think I have okay taste and like kind of like cooking IQ and like what can I give people that I care about? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing it on like on steroids. You're like, what do I think that there's like how many covers do you guys do a night usually?
Man, I don't know.
Like
on a medium night, like maybe we'll have like 200 people in and out.
See, totally. That's on steroids. I'm cooking for like maybe 20 people max.
No, it's tough too because like, and that's why like I enjoy, and I don't think it takes away any of the magic to acknowledge that like running a restaurant is a business. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do I love? What brings me joy? What do I want to share with people? Yeah. But also, how do I make it like feasible for people that are like, spending their like hard-earned money in my establishment? Like, I want to make it worth it for them. Like, they could go literally anywhere else. Yeah. So it's like finding that balance of like, making it special, but also making it like functional. Yeah. Totally.
So yeah, that kind of leads into what the next question is. But like, how did you get there? Like, where did you start? Like, did you start in high school? Yeah, man. Or like, you've been cooking for like your entire life, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Started as like a dishwasher. Kind of skipped the culinary school bit, started dishwashing and prepping. And it was always just like a job that I enjoyed. It wasn't, I wasn't born to be a chef. A lot of it was just kind of like a really happy accident that I like. My big brother got me a gig as a dishwasher, and just kind of, I guess was real good at washing the dishes. And so then they like, hey, you want to pick up a knife and start prepping? And
how old were you when they did that?
Like 15. It was like a sandwich joint.
Oh, tight.
A little in like super touristy part of San Diego. Yeah. Like Seaport Village.
Oh, tight.
Yeah, you could tell it's touristy by the name.
Yeah, totally. They make magnets of it.
Oh yeah, dude. It was it was chill. It was always just like a job. Yeah. And stuck with that, man. And eventually became a line cook. And then when I moved up to the Bay, just kind of definitely lied about my resume and got like a sous chef position at a burger joint that's no longer open in North Oakland. Okay. I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely help with like menu creation and just kind of fibbed my way through that. That's
right. I know multiple people who have done that exact same thing, and they're pretty much the most successful people that I know. But there was a stop in there when you went to Humboldt State. Yeah. Did you work in restaurants when you were going to college?
No, I worked with weed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I stopped cooking because I was going to school up there full time, and that was kind of like a tipping point for me because I was like, all right, like I'm gonna go to school to study, whatever the dart hit. Like I didn't have any direction. Like my parents
doing what people tell you to do.
Yeah, like my parents like had no experience with college either, so they were just like, yeah, do you do it? Like there wasn't a whole lot of like direction, So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll study history and do something with that. I don't know what, but
become a park ranger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I just didn't look good in the hat.
Yeah,
but man, I was just like, so I took a break from cooking. And I dropped out after 2 years after doing way too many drugs. Yeah. And then,
as you do.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. And then I moved home and I got another cooking job because that's like all my work experience I had at the time. So it was easier for me to get a job doing that, something I had been doing. and that's when after taking 2 years off of cooking and like trying something else, that's when I was like, oh, I'm good at this,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it enough to want to do it.
Yeah.
5 days, 6 days of the week.
Heck yeah.
You know,
because it's one of the, like, on paper, like one of the worst jobs.
yeah,
Like long hours and
yeah,
like pay, and there's a bunch of like angry people around and
big time.
funky hours. But if you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in it. You know, and I mean, you've come this far too.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
when you first moved to the Bay, you worked at that burger spot,
Yeah.
and you helped open the Wolf
Yeah.
and like a couple other. What other restaurants did you help open?
Yeah. Victory Burger
Mm-hmm.
was a spot. It was attached to actual cafe
Oh, cool.
in North Oakland.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore, but yeah, I was there for a couple of years, and in fact, that's where I met my current business partner
Mm-hmm.
and like half of my friend group,
Yeah.
which was always like having that kind of like miracle of a social. When I first moved to Oakland, didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Met like amazing people that 11 years later I'm still very close with.
Yeah.
They kind of lended to this kind of idea of like, oh, restaurants and bars are like at the center of my life.
Yeah.
It becomes more than like work at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they're the people with the hours that you
Exactly.
We've already talked about weird hours.
Yeah, exactly. So like, especially with the hours, it's like, who else am I gonna,
That's really good.
Oh yeah, what's in that one?
It's the saltfish and chicken fried rice.
Like, yeah.
But this is real.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Those the meatballs, and because you were talking about where's it's like a southern Chinese province, like
Yeah,
the mountains where they're from.
Yeah, I think it's from southern China and it borders close to Vietnam.
Yeah, because it's got some real Vietnamese sensibilities.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Southeast Asian influence in their
Mhm.
cooking.
And this saltfish rice is funky. Oh, there you
I'm
go.
gonna do these.
Yeah, you just mix it up.
Yeah, man. But like being up here and like having the restaurant like be kind of like the social center of my
Mhm.
life really like accelerated this idea of like, oh, restaurants are more than just a place where I get sustenance.
Yeah.
Like it's the third place, it's the like where relationships form,
Mhm.
friendships form. I met my fiance at the same spot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's special. It can be special.
Yeah. And when you've been in the Bay Area for 11 years, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 of those years were spent working at another Oakland restaurant called Hopscotch.
Yeah.
And that place is great.
Yep.
So that's a serious like time commitment. Like that's where you kind of like
I really cut my teeth at
Yeah.
Hopscotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started as a fry cook there
uh-huh.
and kind of started working every station over time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was there for like, oh man, I want to say like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of day in, day out, really learning the business,
Mm-hmm.
how things function there, how to keep it going,
Mm-hmm.
and just like absorbing so much too. Like Kylie Tani, who's the
Yeah.
chef and owner there, who's become my mentor, really
Yeah.
taught me a massive amount about not just Japanese cuisine, which is something
Yeah.
that I was like unfamiliar with at the time,
Yeah.
but just restaurants in
Yeah.
general. It was like
Totally.
a true like kind of mentorship, and like a lot of chefs will have like, oh, they'll stage in 20 different restaurants and
Yeah.
then they'll like finally be ready to open their own. Where I kind of took a different route. I was just
Yeah.
kind of almost like I found a mentor
Mm-hmm.
who was willing to show me like how he became successful and like his approach to running a kitchen and managing
Mhm.
people and everything. And yeah, I took that knowledge and really ran with it.
That's what you did. That's how I did it in my trade too.
Yeah.
I only worked in like 3 other spots.
Yeah.
Or 3 other spots before I opened my own.
Yeah, there's so
'Cause-
many different ways to get to where where you want to be. There's
Yeah.
not just one way.
I'm gonna eat this kidney.
Do it. Man, they didn't even cut it. That's badass.
Yeah, but it's super tender. Oh man, that's really good.
I'm gonna snap that in a minute.
Yeah, it's a textural bonanza. So at Hopscotch, where you really cut your teeth, I imagine they use a lot of Japanese technique. And when I found that out, it really made a lot of your dishes make sense because they're just pristine.
Yeah,
they're very, very clean.
Which is interesting because, like, I'm Mexican. My parents are from Mexico. So a lot of the food at Low Bar is, like, Mexican influenced. But, you know, it was always, like, I never wanted to do anything super traditionally Mexican or super traditional American bar food because I'm neither of those things, you know? It's kind of like existing culturally in between the two and then having a lot of, like, Japanese influence. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, I don't cook Japanese food on my menu, but I can take an approach to cooking or plating or even, like, you know, ingredients that are, like, local.
Yeah.
That a lot of that I've learned, you know, and apply that to some of my dishes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you got to where you are too. Just like making really, really well executed dishes, and that brought you through the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking hard. Dude, you know what I mean? Like, you guys signed a lease and then the pandemic happened and then you had to build it throughout.
Yeah. That was that served a whole new challenge that, you know, my whole life, especially the years gearing up to, like, okay, I'm ready to open my own spot. I ended up, you know, Kyle, who I mentioned, I brought him on as a consultant for Low Bar because he's been with me through my whole kind of journey as a chef. So you know, he still teaches me so much to this day. We were ready to do this, found a location after shopping different spots around, perfect location, signed our lease. I literally have, like, videos from that day of me and Daniel, my business partner, just, like, celebrating, like, so happy. It was, like, so much hope in our eyes, you know.
And was that early March?
That was in January of 2020.
January 2020, yeah.
And then, you know, throughout
where we all first heard of COVID.
Yeah, throughout February, you start hearing, like, more about COVID. And then March 15th, I think, was the day the lockdown happened. And even then, like, we were like, all right, 2-week vacation. Like, we'll be all right.
That's what we all thought.
But then it happened really fast. That's when we were like, oh, this is going to last longer than 2 weeks.
Well, the world shut down.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but
I think it was probably in a little bit of denial too. I was like, no, this is fine.
But as somebody who's built a business, I can honestly say that crunch time, like right when you sign the lease, there was so much lead up to that. And then when you sign it, it's just like, I'm stuck. Like, I got to do this. Yeah. And I got to move forward in this.
Oh, yeah. And the craziest part, too, is, like, we needed investors to get this thing built out. But, like, I mean, you know how you do it. Like, you put your own money in first to kind of show, like, you got skin in the game, you know? And so we're, like, emptied our personal bank accounts. And we're like, the first thing you do when you're going to do a build out is demolition.
That's the funnest shit.
It's really fun
really
when
fun.
You have money to build after. Like, we were like, cool, just signed our lease. Let's start demo. You know, started just knocked down walls, did a bunch of shit. And it was a mess. It was a construction zone. Yeah. And then COVID happened. And of course, that, like, who was investing in restaurants during the pandemic? You know what I mean? Like, all the investors were just like, I'm gonna wait. Wait this one out.
I read your whole Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And, like, that was a really good. I understood it. Like, you just straight up put your business plan on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And usually it's just all like, we're gonna give you this for that.
Yeah. We're like, no, we're fucked. We need your help to open. Yeah, because all the investors were like, yeah. But I don't blame them. Fuck, man. Yeah. I wouldn't invest in a restaurant when, like, half of my favorite restaurants in Oakland, like, didn't survive the pandemic. Yeah,
which again makes what you guys have done so far so impressive.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was crazy. The only way we ended up doing it is, you know, so we had the total construction zone, had no money in our bank. Investors were, like, getting cold feet, understandably. And so we're like, cool, we literally, like, what do we do, you know? What ended up being our saving grace is we partnered with World Central Kitchen.
Yeah.
which is man, to this day I like owe Jose Andres for like my life.
Yeah. Totally. I think that saved a lot of places.
Really good.
You know, like all throughout it, every single restaurant was like, "Oh, we did 500 meals here, we did 1,000 meals there, like 100." It was really,
cooking,
really impressive.
Yeah, and like cooking, being able to cook for the community through the pandemic for people that like really needed just kind of full bellies, and then and this organization was paying small businesses and chefs to like do this. It was just like the perfect way. It took a long time. We did World Central Kitchen for 15 months.
Yeah.
Even after we ended up opening Low Bar, we were still doing it because it was just like the best.
Well, you did something today too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's another organization that does the exact same thing called Community Kitchens. They're just based out of Oakland. They're like a local thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we partner with them just because World Central eventually, ran out of funding, or at least for certain parts of certain chapters or whatever.
Yeah.
But then Community Kitchens basically kind of took up that job.
Yeah.
And we still do that.
See, that's great. I think this is what a lot of people don't realize when you open up a business here in Oakland, is that community service is just kind of part of it. Like everybody around you is doing something like to help the greater community of Oakland. Yeah. And it's just it's something that you get thrown into, and it's so good. And it's what keeps you here, because there's a lot of stuff to deal with in Oakland.
Dude, it's awesome. Like people love this city, and I love the city like fiercely.
Yes.
Like people that live in Oakland, like that really love it and want to be here. Like I've never lived anywhere where people talk about a city like a family member. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people are like love Oakland, and and want to, and to be able to be in a position to like give back as much as we can. Like it's always hard to run a restaurant, and to do it like throughout the pandemic, it's been an uphill battle like the entire time. But like
because sometimes when you're doing it, or like you're doing some sort of like fundraiser or outreach, and it's just you need to concentrate on your own business, you're like, what am I doing right now? It's like I'm really adding to this I'm adding this burden to my already failing mental health. But then it passes, and it's good, and you did something good, and you move on to the next thing, and it's great. I love Mongolian beef.
I haven't had that one yet. Is that
it's good. Yeah, that's like my comfort. That's one of my comfort things.
Crispy.
Yeah, I want to get some. What you call it? But as far as comforting things, let's dig into your past a little bit. Oh man. So, what is your first food memory?
First food memory,
like from when you were a kid. Is it like your grandma was cooking something, or your mom, or whoever cooked for you?
Bean burritos.
Bean burritos?
Yeah, there was a little mercado by my house. I grew up like really, really close to the border in South San Diego. And there's a little mercado called Otay Farms. Yeah, it was they would just it's just like your typical Mexican market where they have like all the hot prepared foods along with all the ingredients and produce and stuff. Yeah. And we still I went and visited my parents a couple weeks ago, and it's like we still go there. Yeah. Just get like the styrofoam full of like beans, rice, guacamole, and then like the handmade flour tortillas.
That's what's up. That was Tapatio in South City for us.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They're the best.
They're the best.
And so like those bean burritos are like healing.
Yeah.
Literally, just a couple weeks ago.
You're also like in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude, yeah, but it's just like, but even my friends that like didn't grow up where I did, because like a lot of time, like, oh, it's probably like nostalgia for me, and it's like so special because my mom used to make me these burritos. But even like people that didn't grow up there, I'll take them, and my mom will make them the same bean burrito, and they will lose it. They're just like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. And I'm like, okay, so it is actually, it's not just the nostalgia, because they don't have that like I do. Yeah. So it's just like really the best bean and cheese burrito ever. Like
if we were doing this there, we would be eating that.
Yeah, there'd be like tears rolling down my face.
So that's probably that's like, if you smell, how how people's sense of smell like launches them into memories. It's like the strongest correlation memory. If you smell like any kind of bean dish, you're probably like bean burrito.
Bean, but what it is for me, the memory goes like it's about the flour that's left on my hands after holding the tortilla. Because
So
like
they're making it there.
oh yeah, they make it there, and you like heat it up like directly on the burner, you know, so it kind of like chars a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just
What
like
I
this
do at
like
home, pretty much
I'll
every
like
day.
never forget that kind of like sensation of just having like flour on my head. Like I don't know, man. It's that's definitely like the most kind of visceral food memory I have, and it's sick because it's like not just a memory. Like I still eat those things, man.
Yeah,
They're
so
the best.
that's definitely something that like what part of your upbringing influenced your career the most?
Probably probably the party around the food.
Yeah, like when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And like that's why like you know, like I said earlier, like so many chefs like cook to create, and I'm like, I do that, but I think I kind of cook to create everything around the food. Like I don't need people to walk out the doors of my restaurant talking about that dish that they just had.
Yeah.
I almost want it to be like in an ideal scenario, like they had amazing dinner and had the best fucking time of their lives, or the best date ever, or the best whatever, reunion, whatever. And the food was just like a part of it.
Yeah.
You know? And it just kind of facilitated this experience.
So your cooking is you're cooking for to create an atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like the background.
Well,
you know
everything
what I mean?
you have, everything you make too. I mean, including the burger. It's like shareable. Everything is shareable.
Yeah, most things are.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and so that's kind of my idea is like, and maybe, yeah, I don't know where that really stems from, but like, I know chefs. They're like, oh, like they need to talk about my food. Like, I don't really care. I just want them to be like stoked.
Yeah.
About everything.
Yeah.
You know, but mostly about like it includes the like music that was on, or the fucking like Legends of the Hidden Temple rerun that we play at the bar. Yeah. Or just like whatever, you know, the color of the paint that my friend chose for the walls. Like it's just everything, you know. Nobody goes to a bar or restaurant because they need it. Yeah. They don't need it, you know. So it's like it's all just like it's extra. It's like it's the shit that makes it like worth it, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. You should try that 5-spice duck.
All right, I'm trying.
That thing is great. I just got a big old piece of duck fat, and that was amazing. And it's funny, Legends of the Hidden Temple, when I was a kid, when I would watch it, I would jump on the bed the entire time they were going through the temple. And I would be so bummed when they got wrapped.
Dude.
You know? That was
the best show ever.
Yeah,
that monkey statue at the end.
Yeah, dude, the Shrine of the Golden Monkey.
So sick. What was your team though?
Huh?
What was your team?
Oh, it changed everyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was it the purple pythons?
It was the
blue barracudas.
It was blue barracudas, red jaguars. I think it was silver snakes, green monkeys. I forget the purple one. I don't know. Was it purple
panther?
Purple panther, maybe.
I don't know.
That would make sense.
When we were talking about our childhood, so it sounds like you grew up with like really, because you grew up between San Diego and Tijuana. So I mean, if you're growing up that close to the border, did you have family in Tijuana and
San Diego?
And San Diego.
Yeah. We'd go back and forth all the time, which was cool. Like it definitely like I never went to school in Tijuana. I never lived in Tijuana, but I would spend so much of like our lives there, visiting friends, family. We would go down south a little bit more, past it, like closer, like Ensenada, go like camping on the beach. Yeah. So like my associations with it were always positive. Like it was always just the best time ever. Yeah. And as I got older, half of my friends either moved up to the Bay or moved down to Tijuana. Yeah. And so they still are down there, and I go and visit them and hang out. Like, awesome. Especially when I was in San Diego and I was like 19 years old after I dropped out of Humboldt. That's when I probably spent the most time with Tijuana. It was like just partying down there and like being a shithead. Yeah, you know, it was so fun.
Oh, yeah. I was doing the same thing here. I was just cutting hair.
This duck is so good.
The duck is so good. I'm going to speak a little bit louder because somebody started chainsawing something outside of the window. So, your grandparents, must have had some sort of an influence. Were they around?
Yeah, they were around. Some of
so
them were around.
What did they cook? And like, what did your mom cook?
Dude, so it's funny. In my family, on both sides, the men in my family cook.
Yeah.
Which is pretty uncommon, you know, culturally for like a Mexican household.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think a lot of it stemmed with, so my grandpa on my dad's side, he was from Tijuana, but then he came over, I think I want to say in the 40s, and he was a bracero in the Coachella Valley. He used to pick dates in the Coachella Valley.
Yeah.
And then I don't know the exact details of it, but he actually ended up joining the American Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then he did that for a few years, and then after he's in the Korean War.
Oh, okay.
This was the 50s.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years in the American Army, he moved back to Mexico, where he was from, and like lived there, had my dad, raised my dad, and then my dad came back over with them. Like they all came over when my dad was like 15 or something.
Yeah.
And so I think my grandpa, when he was in the Army, he was a cook in the Army.
Yeah.
And so he would, whenever we'd get together for like Charger games on Sundays, he would oftentimes cook his like shitty Army food. Literally, like it was called shit on the shingles. We would call it SOS, and it's just
so chipped beef, right?
It's just canned beef gravy on bread.
Yeah.
Like that's it, with some fried eggs, and then of course like some flour tortillas and salsa. Like,
yeah,
and it was so good. Like it's you know.
Yeah, it's like my wife's grandmother married a GI. She was from the Philippines, so you get like fried chicken and mashed potatoes, but there's rice, like steamed rice, and the chicken is adobo. It's adobo chicken marinated, and then it's just fried American style. It's wild.
That sounds
really
amazing.
good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
and man, Filipino food, dude. Growing up in San Diego, that was like my second favorite food growing up.
That's what's up. Yeah, Daly City had a huge influence on me.
Yeah.
So you've also you've traveled a lot.
Yeah.
And
I like to. I try to.
Yeah, totally. So how do those experiences influence what you do as well? Like what is your top meal that you've ever had? Like situationally, where you were, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the food, right? Yeah. It's like the people that you're with, the place that you're in. I ate a shitty slice of pizza on a bench in front of a castle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, there's probably a few meals that I can like specifically recall. One of them was I was in northern Brazil, in Bahia, in Salvador de Bahia, and like it just kind of it was so picturesque that it kind of I felt like I was being set up. I was like suspicious of like how picturesque my like experience was. I was sitting there eating a bowl of moqueca, which is like a fish, like a seafood stew, and like coconut milk and dunde, like palm oil. And I was just out like a little like plastic like Coca-Cola table eating this moqueca, and there was like it had just rained. Some dudes playing dice. There was a literal fucking rooster in the window above me, just like croaking, and it was crazy. Like it felt fake, but it was like so amazing. It was like the most. It was every sense was like firing. You know what I mean? It was like the food was amazing, the music, the sounds, it smelled amazing because it just rained. It was just like it was
you're
crazy.
So connected to that one moment.
Yeah,
and you look up and it's like bing.
Totally. And one thing that I took away in Brazil that I like wish we did here is how they drink. Is like you buy a big beer and everybody has a little plastic cup and they just refill their cups drink out of the cups, and like everybody buys like a big like basically beer. It's like a 40 like throughout the night everyone buys like multiple of those and you're just like refilling everybody's cups. Like nobody
like
has
64 ounce height.
Yeah, exactly. When you go, like nobody has their own beer. They just have their own cup, and you're just like, and I was like, I love that.
Yes.
But I've tried to do that here. It's like it's just some things you just can't have here, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what I fucking love that's like sacrilegious to so many people is like I love ice in my beer.
Really?
Like I love like a glass, like a cold ass glass with like beer lao or like tiger or like some sort of like Asian lager or even like Modelo or Estrella.
Yeah.
And it's just and I just love having ice in it because they would come around in Vietnam and they would have this big bucket of ice. And so they'd have the dirty ice bucket and the clean ice bucket, and they walk up and they just jack these big like cylindrical pieces of ices in your beer.
That's so sick.
Pieces of ice.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, those experiences are what like kind of like I don't know when you're cooking something and you're trying to reconnect with that one time.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
And
it's like
this. Yeah, and it's when the food like kind of puts you. It's like when the food's so good, and then you like kind of like come up for air.
Yeah.
Because if you're just so into what you're eating, and then it's like that makes the food better when you realize like what everything around you is. You know?
Hell yeah.
Or like my fiance, she's her dad's from France, her mom's from Haiti. We haven't made it out to Haiti yet. That's next, but we've been to France a handful of times.
Oh man,
and
food in Haiti is
I
probably gonna be fucking.
Really cool. I know. I'm like really excited for that.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, you know, like being in France and just like the French know how to eat.
Yeah. They really do.
They really do. They know how to eat. They know how to cook, and they take it really seriously, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? It's like
you've made it your life.
It's so good. Yeah.
Like you made this thing like your life. Yeah. Is what you do. So I mean, with that, with all of your experiences in the culinary field, like how does that really influence your day to day? Like, do you have any like weird tendencies, or like how does it shape your long term goals? Like, do you have like PTSD if you see like a can opener?
Sometimes like if I'll be at a restaurant and I hear the ticket machine. And that'll fuck me up a little bit. I'll just kind of like perk up, but
yeah,
I'm pretty good at like separating that. But it's like it's always tricky, you know. I feel like growing up, everyone's like, oh, like do what you love and like get a job in your passion. I don't know if that's necessarily the best advice. Like sometimes it's totally okay to have your job, get your money, and then have your passion separately. To like monetize that can really fuck you up.
Yeah, it really.
And I think I'm very lucky in the sense that I still, on my days off, want nothing more to go to a restaurant or to a bar, just like eat and drink with my friends. Yeah. You know?
You gotta get that in before you become a parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, I believe
it's a very, very important thing. And that does bring me to my next question. It's like, what are your views on being a parent in the industry that you're in?
I'm just excited for the free labor.
Heck yeah. The Dakota is not interested in sweeping. He was interested in sweeping. Now he's 7 going on 8, and he doesn't have any interest in sweeping. But he's not old enough to say like, "No, you have to do it," because he'll just be like, "Nah,
it's not fun anymore."
Yeah, it's not fun anymore. He wants to play video games. But how does that shape your long-term goals as well?
You know, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I didn't grow up in restaurants. Like, my parents never worked in them. I think my dad was a butcher, but before I was born. Yeah. But like, so I don't really have a blueprint for this. So but I think there's one thing that like working in restaurants has taught me. It's like I can improvise pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
Just putting out fire. I mean, I feel like it's any small business owner, you know. There's always I could wake up with nothing on my schedule and I'll just like take a shower, go into the restaurant, and a million things will like just fill my day, you know?
Yeah, that's what I felt as a small business owner equips you so well for being a parent, because you go from like, you know, being like, this is what I'm doing today, and like, this is how my life is, to every single day, your entire fucking being is thrown into chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just straight into chaos. And being a small business owner is adapting every hour of every day that you work, and even when you're gone, because you're completely attached to it.
Totally.
And it's really, really good for parenting.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, like, you know, I got my first one on the way, so it's all just kind of anticipation for me on this end.
Uh-huh.
But like, I mean, all we do is apply our experiences to like our future,
Yeah.
you know. And so like, knowing I got a kid on the way, I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what this is like, but I do feel slightly equipped in the sense that I'm like, well, I know how to put out fires.
Yeah, you're gonna be good, man.
Yeah. I
This
think so.
soup is so good.
It's so good, dude. It's
the
fucked
Ho
up.
Fun combination soup
Yeah.
from Tan Ki.
You know what they didn't do for you though?
What?
And that's probably just because it was your first time there. They
Yeah.
didn't put the little crispy pork bits on top.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it pork floss or is it just like fried pork
It's
skin?
like fried pork skin, like that they crush up and they put
Yeah.
it on top. It's okay. It's your first time there.
Yeah, but they were pretty juiced at how much food I ordered.
I believe that.
They were like, "Oh man, this is great."
Yeah.
Give them a good tip because you always tip well,
Yeah, don't
especially now.
not do that.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
So yeah, that's the end of most of my questions. But so what is something that you want to like promote, like what you're doing, or if somebody wants to dedicate like any volunteer time or like donate to like where you were cooking this morning.
Oh my god, this noodles! I'm listening, but these noodles are fighting me. There we go.
Yeah, so you got to fight the crispy noodle. Those things get slimy really
yeah,
fast.
they do.
But they're so lovely.
Dude, I mean,
duck in this?
promote, like, come to Low Bar,
Mm-hmm.
drink, eat, donate money to community kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
It's seriously like they're killing it. They're really like,
Go to comedy night.
oh yeah, we got comedy night on Wednesdays. We do
Mhm.
brunch on Saturdays and Sundays.
It's really good.
We open at 11 on those days.
Yep.
Yeah, man, but no, community kitchens though, like
Mhm.
donate money if you can to those dudes or volunteer. I'm sure they could always use help. But yeah, they're really like, I feel like every week I see another one of my friends' restaurants in Oakland is like, oh, we're part of, we just joined community kitchens and
Yeah.
we just put like a little 1% surcharge
Mhm.
on the end of the bill.
Yeah.
Every restaurant does that, and then we pay that money to community kitchens every month.
Yeah.
And then they funnel that money to all the restaurants and buy meals for
Yeah.
us to cook for the houseless people in the community. So it's a great system.
Yeah.
You know, it's really helping filling bellies, helping
Mhm.
small businesses. It's all good.
But I don't really know one restaurant that's opened up around Oakland right now that isn't doing something like that.
Yeah.
That's
so great.
amazing. So yeah, I guess that's what I had to ask. I really enjoy eating with you.
Same, dude.
Like this was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm really glad we got to sit down and just like eat, and I got to figure out a new place to go whenever
yeah.
I have me time.
Yeah, do it.
Like, I would definitely bring my family there.
Mhm.
Oh, I'd probably just bring Dakota. I
Mhm.
don't know if Sarah would like it for sure
She would
because she
like the
likes to eat
kidney?
everything.
Would you like a kidney?
Maybe, which I'm gonna eat another piece of because it's really good.
No, let me get that. I'm gonna reach.
She's a pretty adventurous eater. It's just that sometimes you have a spot where you go, like what is it? Toulon, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that place. I will go there and I will just sit there and I will eat by myself because I went to barber college down the street and that's where I would go for lunch like every day
That's sick.
for like $6. You got
That's
a
sick.
big old plate of food and I would just sit there and I would eat and I would take myself out to lunch. And that was amazing. But I can see that place becoming that place for me because it's close to where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just try to emulate you.
Dude, it's so good. I'll
Yeah.
probably see you there. And honestly, what's great about that place, like eating there,
Mm-hmm.
is it's kind of like, maybe I like it, realize just now, because like the opposite of like what I've been talking about, what I love about going out.
Yeah.
Nobody's interested in talking to each other.
Yeah.
Just have a newspaper, a hot
Mhm.
bowl of soup. There's no music playing. The lights are on 100%.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's,
what I
but
noticed.
it's like transactional. You're like, we're here
Yeah.
to eat soup.
Yeah. It's like we're here by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we know that there's people around us, but
Yeah.
I will not talk to
Yeah,
you.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
kind of a nice break.
There was a lot of people eating by themselves in there,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciate.
Mhm.
A lot of tape measures on
Oh, yeah.
pockets and shit. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's some working class fucking food, and it was great.
Yeah, dude. You can't go wrong. This restaurant
Yeah.
rules.
Tonki
Donkey.
on East 12th Street
And
and
7th
7th Avenue in Oakland. And go to Low Bar and eat and get drunk if you want to, but they have really good mocktails too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a meal there that I've been disappointed in at all. So it's good. And rent out the space if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a private dining room. You rent it out. Like 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up?
It's pretty sweet.
Have a wedding. Get married.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're with anybody. You can marry yourself. Just go for it. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for mukbanging.
Dude, thank you, man.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Bay Area Mukbang. I really appreciate it. And please go out to your local bars, restaurants, and small businesses to spend your money in your neighborhood. Support the people that are around you, please. And if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Any suggestions for any future interviews that you'd like to see would be greatly appreciated, so put them in the comments. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.